Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's Tip from the Top call. Today is June 7th, and as always, our Tips from the Top call is at 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Thursdays. And I have Chris Whitaker here with me, and we're going to tag team today's call. We're going to share our tips on booking and host coaching, as well as booking strong into the summer. It's June 7th. You're gearing up for a great summer. Either you have kids that are, getting out of school for the summer, or you have family vacations that you need to kind of power through and make sure your calendar is booked up. And so we're here to share some tips on that. And I'm just going to start it off with one of my favorite tips as far as at your tasting events. Once you've booked a tasting event and you're standing there and you're talking to everyone at that tasting event, and you'll hear me say this over and over again, never let anyone leave that party without knowing how you can help them. Treat every single party as a networking event. Get to know those guests. You're going to have connections with so many people, and you're going to want to make sure that they know what you do. And one of my other tips that I've actually learned from one of our top leaders is what she does at her tasting events is that she asks everyone to raise their hand if they have a nonprofit that they love to support. Mm. And then what she does is everyone raises their hands who doesn't have a nonprofit, a school, a 5K that they're participating in or their child's participating in. Or their friend. They have a friend that's doing a bicycle, full day bicycle trip, raising money for a local nonprofit. And then you offer them different ways to fundraise for that nonprofit, be it booking a tasting event themselves, or, do they have any friends or family that are, like, if it's not for them, maybe they have friends or family that are interested in booking a tasting event with you. That everyone knows someone that's in the fundraising world. So you really just kind of get their juices flowing, midway through the tasting event. And then if people are really interested, you would also offer them the opportunity to join your team, because your whole reason for doing this is to grow your team so that you can train cause entrepreneurs to raise funds for their local nonprofit. So definitely, I'd love to hear that tactic. And if you have any tips to share, we'll open it up at the end of today's call with any Q&A or additional tips. And so I'm going to go ahead and see if Chris has anything to add. And then jump into some other tips for you guys.
Yeah. So I'm going to talk about host coaching, because this is the part about booking that is it's like the most important step. You think it's hard to get someone to say yes to have that tasting, but what's even harder is if you get them to agree to it and then all of a sudden they cancel. So coaching your host and setting the expectations is the most important step. And so the first thing that, I've been in the business 24 years. I started out selling, and my sister tried to talk me into selling cooking gadgets like Jackie did. But I wanted to do toys. I was just having boys. I was just having my boys. Actually, today's my youngest son's 21st birthday. So you're talking about going to the pool and doing things with your kids in the summer. This is always a special day for me, of course. But the thing is that I wanted to be home with my kids. And so I started selling, but I never thought that I could really make money doing it. But I really just wanted to get out there and have fun with my friends and everything. So where am I going with this? The bookings are important. You don't want to have the cancellations. You want to make sure that they stick and everything. And so one of the things that was super important when I was in the business was thanking that host right from the beginning. You think that you're going to thank them after the event, but really thank them for booking. And that's your first chance to make that connection. And it helps it stick. It's like, oh my gosh, when you receive that, when that host receives that in the mail, they said, oh, wow, this is real. I'm definitely going to do this now. This person's very grateful for me. And then the next thing is to set expectations and help your host set some goals. So you can do that through a wish list. And along with the wish list is who is the nonprofit, and find out more about that nonprofit that they want to donate to and how much do they want to raise. I make that part of the wish list. And in that way, it's building that partnership. And just always remember that your host is your partner. And so eventually what happens is that as you are starting to plan, you're setting the expectations, you're setting the goals and stuff, and you're starting to plan this event, it becomes so real for that host. And so they become so much more invested in it. And the final tip that I have to having successful bookings or successful tasting events through host coaching is to really, along with setting the expectations, it's making sure that the host knows that the most important part of her event is the attendance. So it's about inviting those people and making sure you have enough people there, because your job is to come and help them learn more about One Hope, where the host job is to get the people there for you. So you always want to go to every event to be able to present to as many people as possible, because your events are where, I'm just going to keep talking. Your events are where everything happens in your business. You will book more tastings. You will find people to join your team, and you will find people that are affiliated with nonprofits. You can find corporate gifting orders. Every way that you can sell in our company, you're going to find at your tastings. So that's why you want to help her get the most well-rounded amount of people to come, and as many as possible. Not everybody can come. We all know that. So invite everyone. How's that, Sabrina?
I love it. I love
Okay.
it.
I know where I was going, though. I'll tell you guys, I did not end up selling toys. I ended up selling home decor, and it was, but wine to me is like, it's easy. I think you guys are in the right place. I'm glad to be here. But over the years, that's where I found my experience worked really well. But there's so many really good reasons to book, and definitely make sure that through host coaching that you're host coaching for the right reasons too, because you're not the entertainment that's showing up. Mm-hmm. So that's where I was going to go with that point.
Yeah. And one thing to add on to that is the reasons you're having these conversations with your hosts, we refer it as host coaching, but it's also building a relationship with your host. Mm-hmm. And, you really want to make sure they know that the goal here is to raise money for that local nonprofit. So yes, it's going to be a lot of fun. Yes, their friends are going to show up and enjoy some wine, but let's keep in mind that we're here to raise funds for that nonprofit. So, you just really need your host to know that, so that they're, at the event backing you up. When you talk about it, like having them chime in and share a little tidbit about that local nonprofit, that's great. Having them share how easy it was to do a booking, with you is huge, because they're friends and family with the host, or, friends, and they trust the host. So they can hear from you that it's like so much fun to book a tasting event. But if you're looking to book future tasting events through that booking, definitely have your host, share their experience as well, so that people feel more comfortable coming up to you and say, I want to do an event. I want to do a girls' night. My girlfriends and I get together for book club. We'd love to have you come. We want to support this nonprofit. There's so many great ways for that host to chime in and also share their experience. So talk to them about that, so they can start to think about it before the tasting event. Super casual, doesn't have to be a serious conversation in any way, because we're there to have fun, but definitely work with your host. Don't hesitate to talk to them and tell them, you know, what's worked as far as raising funds for a local nonprofit, and how, you know, you would love their support at the event. But that was just my additional tip as far as host coaching.
That's great.
And then,
can I show them a sneak peek of something real quick? Because you were just talking about how many times, like, staying in touch with your host and everything, and make sure that you're always having that conversation, and how it can be casual conversations and stuff. This is actually a sneak peek of something that we're creating for you guys that we're going to release at Crush, and it's called a host coaching checklist. And it has like what you can do on every single contact. So it gives you the ideas, and you know, you can do everything. You might find that some of the things you're going to do maybe one contact earlier than the other one. You can mix it up, but it's really going to help you out a lot. So you can have those conversations and feel really comfortable, and it'll be your cheat sheet, and then you can just check off for each person. So that was a great point, Sabrina.
Awesome. Do we want to jump into booking your summer strong?
Sure. I think I'd love to hear how people are doing with that, because, you know, like, I don't go out and do the tasting events anymore myself, but I can tell you what some of my ideas were. Like, this is like the time of the year that you can do a lot more theme events, I think. Maybe do some VIP events. Even, like, one of my favorite ones to do for those of you who are going to Crush, or even those of you, if you're not able to go to Crush, you can still do this. I would do it. It's the What's the Scoop event, or an ice cream social, and I would call it What's the Scoop, and that's just a reason to bring people back. And you know what? We have wines that are really good with ice cream too.
There's some really fun, like, you knew popsicles too. Popsicles in our Brut. Oh my gosh, that would be amazing on a hot summer day.
Yeah, so there's like so many fun things you can do. And then also, Sabrina talked about how the kids are home. So do some daytime gatherings where you get together for these tasting events. And of course, you know, you might want to make it a little more non-alcoholic if you're in charge of the kids and stuff. But remember, I was not selling wine before, so I have to make sure that I pay attention to that when I'm talking about my tips. But we would have events where the moms would get together. They'd bring their kids. We might have a babysitter from the neighborhood. A couple babysitters come in and watch the kids while the moms are doing the event. So, so that's an idea too, because it's really important that you keep your business strong and keep it going through the summer.
Yeah, one tip that I was just thinking of was, as you're sitting there trying to figure out who to reach out to, like, maybe you feel like you're in a slump because all of your friends, their kids are coming, you know, home from school, and they're, you know, not in daycare or day camp. So one thing I was going to throw out there was really sit down and think outside of your circle. So if you have children at home during the summer, think of people that don't have children at home during the summer, and they can book a tasting event. If your kids are in swim, yes, you're going to talk to, you know, the moms at swim, but think of the kids, moms who are just finishing up baseball, or, you know, they finally have some weekend time because, you know, the sport or the activity that their child was in is now done. You know, just try to think outside of your initial circle and what you're involved in, because that's how you initially, like, build relationships. And those are people you can talk to when school starts up again. But, you know, really try to reach out to people outside of that circle, and people that, you know, aren't, you know, as enthralled in the same thing that you are, you know, to reach out.
That's another great tip. I love that.
And sometimes it's easy just to get stuck and kind of give up, but just sit down and really try to think of what is taking up most of your time, and think of the opposite, you know. I don't know. That was just one of my tips.
I love that. Well, that's a really good one. And you were talking about baseball games and things, and we used to go to tournaments. And so we would have a span of time in between the games. And there was always a lot of moms and dads, that would go on these tournaments. So what, if you are involved in any kind of travel ball teams, and you might have some tournaments coming up and stuff, that's a great opportunity to kind of throw something in there in the middle.
Take over one of the hotel rooms.
Yeah, take over the hotel rooms. Yeah, no judging here, but we were moms that had things in our cups too.
My mom might have done that in my tournaments.
Yeah. It was all good. So
yeah, and I love the idea of opening it up for anyone that has any tips that have worked for them in the past summers, or if you're new and want to share some tips that you can think of in regards to summer this year. Definitely unmute yourself and share your tips, please.
We're going to put you on the spot, Jackie. Just because you're a veteran in the business.
Carry a catalog with you everywhere you go. Start conversations. Yes. And most of my conversations start when I'm wearing a One Hope shirt or that Call Me for a Good Wine shirt. So definitely wear your merch out and about, because people will be like, what is One Hope? And then you just break out your catalog and start talking to them.
Everybody needs this hoodie, by the way, that I have on. It has our logo on the sleeve. It's a nice weight. It's very, very comfy. And it's just that great extra layer, especially for cool summer nights. But a lot of people notice it. Yeah, good tips.
I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes.
Oh, hi. One of the things, I don't have a summer tip, but one of the things I found at my last party that I had done, which was my first party other than my Pop the Box, is I engaged the audience in every time I would say something like, here at Denise's tasting, you're going to see me pour this way, and I'll do the same thing at yours. I kind of brought them back and said, when I get to your tasting, a lot of this decor is mine and I can bring mine to yours too. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was kind of cool that if they had those questions in their mind, like, oh, where'd she get those things to dress up the table? Or is she doing something different that she would do at mine? And I did have a couple. There was one girl that, came up to me and said, oh, thank you for saying that, because I want to have one, but I know nothing about wine and I don't have anything. So it was a really good thing to pull them in.
That's awesome. That's such a great tip.
Yeah, I love that.
Very approachable, very attainable.
And I love that you're actually, not that everybody has to do this, but you're decorating your display. Mm-hmm. So you're giving them some entertaining tips too. Maybe just some, additional. So if there's another layer there, that's fun. Mm-hmm. All right. I see Jackie's asked, is there a list of theme ideas?
Different theme parties, like Mimosa Bar, and I don't know if we have a list anywhere.
You have some inspirations, I think, on the Vine or on VAU. There are some inspirational theme parties.
Yeah, there are some. There is some in VAU. I think under hosting there might be some ideas there, and then and I was just kind of going, now where did I just see this? For those of you who are coming to Crush, we're definitely going to be talking about that too. Mm-hmm. But yeah, on VAU under the hosting section, you should be able to find some theme ideas. And that's a great point, Lisa, that in the Vine, whenever there's something that's relevant coming up, like we had Rosé All May. So we were talking about doing Rosé All May tasting events. And then another really cool idea, you guys, is that on June 19th, we have Grape de Glace coming up. And Mari, our director of wine, will be doing a virtual tasting. So that's an excellent reason to get people together in your home or at a location where you guys can have it on your TV and you can see Mari and you can do a tasting with your friends.
And I believe that the second Saturday in June is National Rosé Day. So if you're promoting it on your Facebook page, I think that's this upcoming June 9th, I want to say.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm ready. Thanks, Lisa. That's awesome.
I see that Rita asked, can we just get a regular t-shirt with Call Me for a Good Wine? Currently, we just have the one style t-shirt with that design available. But if it is super popular, which it seems to be, we may, announce a different style, but currently it's just the one style of t-shirt.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I also see where Rita asked, speaking of nonprofits, where can I find detailed info on each of our charitable organizations? And that's a great question. There's a couple of resources that are super helpful. One of them is onehopefoundation.org.
Mm-hmm.
Is actually, we have our own foundation, and we do have links to the different partners, the different cause partners that we have. And then also in VAU, I think, don't we have some information, right? And then we also have one Monday out of every month, a Make an Impact Monday, where we're introducing our cause partners too. So we encourage you to get on that call.
And I don't mean to call him out, but I see a special guest on today's call. Matt Middlesworth, our VP of Technology, joined today's call. I'm sure he's just trying to be a fly on the wall, but I just wanted to say hi to him and see if he had anything that he wanted to share on today's call.
Not today. I'm just really busy preparing for everything.
Yep. I just wanted to do a quick shout out. It's exciting to have you joining us today, Matt.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
Thank you.
We've got some really, really cool, fun tech things coming up, you guys, that are going to be revealed very, very soon. So stay tuned. That's why Matt's got his head down and he's in there. And we just love it when people from the office comes on, so that you guys can see how we're working, and they get to see you too.
Ooh, Dina has a tip.
Excited to hear, Matt.
I see Dina has a tip. Keep having virtual party fundraiser links open between Memorial Day and 4th of July, with the 10% going to veterans nonprofits.
That's great.
That's a great idea. Love that idea.
Yes. And did they just announce Make an Impact Monday? Did they announce the date? Is that June?
I don't think we've officially announced the date yet.
Okay.
I don't think I know it. Did you?
I don't off the top of my head, but it's a Monday, so we could probably in June. We're usually might be June 25th. I'm thinking it's the last Monday of the month.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll confirm that for you. But stay tuned, and I'm sure it's probably going to end up in the Vine this week, I would say. Yeah. Leave it to me. I usually announce something that isn't like officially in print.
No.
I'm getting better at it, though, so don't think you can like bribe or tickle me.
Well, it seems that we've covered all the questions, and we had some really great tips shared today. Thank you so much to everyone who joined today's call. Let's see here. The next call that we have is our Feedback Friday, and that's tomorrow on the community page at 10:30 Pacific Standard Time. I think Adri might be going live. I'm trying to remember who's doing tomorrow's.
I think Adri is.
So it'll be 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on our community page. And then we have some amazing items launching next week on the Vine. So definitely be sure to check that out. And we have some really great training calls next week. So make sure to add those to your calendar as well. And thank you so much to everyone who joined today. It's a really great call, and have a great weekend. And we'll see you next week on our calls.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, Matt.